Hello, this is Bridget Round with Divine Essentials. Okay guys, so I am here and I am ready to do a little bit more of Alcyone Light Healing. We are moving on with, it's technically week 33 in the planner of the overview that we had connected to this, but obviously week 33 was a while ago. But if you are somebody that's like taking the course in order, that's where we're at, okay? So you could look at it as episode 33 or, you know, however you want to label it, basically. But the energy or the overview that I had for this part of it, I had part 3 and part 4. Part 3 is the basics of tarot, and then part 4 is the basics of oracle. But I do feel like those things are kind of interchangeable, or you're able to take the basics of either one and apply it to the other. So I'm going to talk about both in this video and then just label it, you know, with that, so that people know that this is kind of incorporating both of those elements. And then I will continue on and do deeper things as we go through the rest of the level. I'm not even going to say when I plan to do it or when I hope to do it or anything like that, because then it does not happen. And I've had some insights on that, and I feel like it's best for me to just keep things to myself. Okay, so basically we're starting off with the basics of tarot. For tarot itself, there are 78 cards, okay? So within those 78 cards, there are 22 major arcana cards, and then there are the minor arcana cards, and then within that is 4 suits, and they connect to the elements. So it's pretty simple. There's the earth, air, fire, water. So if you understand that concept of earth, air, fire, water, then you should be able to kind of, you know, get a handle on the tarot in itself. And then realizing that there's major arcana that are more solid, or they're more powerful cards. So if you were to get a major arcana card, that energy is like there. It's powerful. It's not something that's, you know, very like gonna change easily as much as some of the minor arcana cards, okay? So the minors are all of the cards that are like the aces through the tens. And then the court cards, which is another part of this, are the queens, the kings, the knights, and the pages, okay? So within the major has like the emperor, okay, and the devil. Like these are major energies, major arcana. Then the minor has things like the ace of pentacles, the 6 of cups, the 8 of swords, the 5 of cups. Now when it comes to these energies, they're minor, okay? So somebody may be feeling this way today or right now in this moment, but they could be influenced out of that or away from that or into another energy pretty quickly, okay? So when we see these, we aren't going to hold them as like, oh God, that's like how it's going to be forever, or they're going to stay in that energy, you know, indefinitely. We want to look at the major kind of as like, okay, that's something major that we want to acknowledge, but the rest of these others, like the 3 of swords, this is like somebody gets their heart broken or something tragic happens in their life, but they're going to heal from that. They're going to overcome that. The 3 of swords, I mean the 3 of cups, this can be seen in 2 different ways. This can be seen as like there's a third party, you know, and it's funny because it's like it can be seen as party time, you know, like, oh my God, we're having a good time. It's like people coming together, celebration, woo-hoo-hoo. And it can be seen as like reconciling, you know, differences. But then on the flip side of that, it can be seen as somebody having a third party situation where they're like cheating on you and they're having a party, you know, they're having a grand old time with 3 people involved, and usually 2 people don't know about each other, and one of them, you know, is the one that's having the party. So with that, again, usually somebody's going to end up with this heartache. And again, it's not indefinite. It's not something that will always be influencing the situation. It could change tomorrow. It could change today. Somebody may be seeing 3 people or 2 people and then make a decision to just stay with one, or make a decision to leave one that they're with to go with another. So again, it's just energy that's there, but it's not the end all be all type of energy. And people can come in and out of those energies. So like again with the Two of Swords, somebody may be trying to make a decision and they're just at a stalemate. They don't know what to do. So that could again be like, I just don't know who I want to be with, or I just don't know what I want to do when it comes to this situation I'm in. I don't want to break my own heart, and I don't want to break anyone else's heart. And you know, that's the type of vibes that this type of stuff can have around it. And as you get used to these energies, that's what you can pick up from seeing these types of cards coming out together. Now, again, with the elements, right? So the swords, they pretty much are mind, mental energy. This is something that somebody would have going on in the mind. This is something that they're thinking about, or some sort of energy that like they may speak. You know, it's like mental energy around the mind and around speaking and around our thoughts and like how we are logically approaching things. But then the cups are how we feel. Okay, so 6 of Cups is nostalgic. Somebody's like missing somebody from their past. This could be a past life connection. This could be somebody that you've known since childhood. It has like a sweetness to it in the traditional tarot, which I do suggest that if you're going to learn tarot, get the Rider-Waite tarot, because that is the first tarot, and that's where most of these other cards and other things that people create are based off of. In a way, it's like a spin-off of that, if it is not exactly the same as it. But in the traditional tarot, the 6 of Cups is like a little boy presenting some flowers to a little girl, and he's like, I'm sorry, let's make up and be friends again. And it's tied to the emotions. Okay, so the cups, when we think of that water, we think of that intuitive energy, we think of those emotions, we think of our feelings. That's pretty much what you're going to see within the cups. And then within the minor arcana are the numbers, and those tie into things too. So if you're somebody that's on a spiritual path, and you see the 222s and the 333s and the 444s, and you've looked into that at all, or you've looked into numerology, then you have a one-up on others, okay? Because 5, we know, represents change. If you don't know that, then those are things that you're going to want to study and figure out, because that's how we can navigate the tarot and get more elaborate with our messages, with what we have when we look at them. Because a lot of people can look at them and see the imagery and read the image, or what they know the keywords associated with that card are. But when you know the meaning of numbers, or you know the astrology that's connected to these things, it makes it so that you have more ability to read deeper into that energy, and you can start picking out the signs, and you can start picking out what might be going on underneath the scene of situation. You may even be able to tap into the timing of things, because the timing can be influenced or can be shown by the energies here. So like the Hierophant is a major arcana, and the Hierophant is connected to Taurus, which is that time of April 20th to May 20th, around then. So you could say, when that Hierophant shows up, if somebody's asking about time, you could say it may be happening in April or May, or it may be around the time of spring, or something to do with that. And then with the Hierophant in itself is very much aligned and similar to the energy of Taurus. So Taurus is all about commitment, stability, the material world. It's tied to Venus, which is the planet of beauty and the planet of luxury and feeling good and having tradition and things like that. So when you think of the Hierophant, you can think of those other elements that tie into it and start to correlate those things together, like Taurus, Hierophant, commitment, stability, next level commitment. It's a spiritual thing, and it's very stable and very traditional in the way that it does its stuff. But then with the Emperor, he's tied to Aries. He's tied to the energy that's like the month before. He's like the April energy. And Aries is a fire sign, whereas Taurus is the earth sign. So Aries is all about fire and passion and like getting it all, you know, out there, and it's tied to Mars. So you think of Mars and Venus are a little different, right? So Venus is feminine, Mars is masculine. Women are from Venus, men are from Mars. You can take these little things that you know and apply it to this stuff. Now, if you don't know any of that stuff, you don't need to know that stuff, but those are things that can help you to get beyond the basics, or make the basics easier for you, because you already have an understanding of that stuff. If you don't know those things, I do recommend learning them, you know, because it's just gonna make you a better reader. It's gonna give you more ability to actually understand stuff. So like the Devil is actually tied to Capricorn. So Capricorn is around like January, and the energy of Capricorn is tied to the Devil, and it's just how it's associated within the tarot. It doesn't mean that Capricorns are evil or anything like that, but that's just the energy that's there. And then they have the houses, and they have all those other influences. So if you're somebody that does not know much about astrology, you can get an oracle deck to help you. I have, like, this is my tarot deck that I created, and when I did it, I put the words on there so that people know, okay, this is the Three of Pentacles, and the Pentacles are connected to Earth, and so that's going to be physical, material stuff. Now, the thing with the Pentacles is, it is very much about physical, material world, but it's also about spiritual level of stuff too. So pentacles, think of pentagrams, okay? So this is not only just about money and the physical material world, it's also about our spiritual value and our worth that we innately have as beings on the planet. So there's those elements that are tied into it, and then the Ten of Pentacles is like our ultimate fulfillment. So this is somebody being good in their mind, in their body, in their energy, in their relationships, in their money, in their spiritual connection, okay? Now, what I was saying is, I have that deck that I created where it's like, okay, this is this and that is that, and it breaks it down. So basically the major arcanas are the Lovers, the Devil, the Emperor, and on the cards themselves, you'll see just one word for the major arcana, the Hierophant. That's the one that ties to the Taurus energy. You see that spiritual level there, that commitment, that stability. Aries is the Emperor, okay? And then the Lovers is Gemini. And when you think of Gemini, Gemini can be a little bit of that duality, like, ooh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, or 1 minute of this and 1 minute of that. So two beings representing Gemini is, even in their sign, you see, like, there's the twins that represent Gemini. So the Lovers is connected to that, and it's also connected to trying to make a decision in love, because Gemini is usually not able to do those types of things very easily. And then in the traditional tarot, when you look at the Lovers and the Devil, they're actually almost the exact same picture, but the Lovers are all like lovey-dovey with the angel energy around them, and the Devil is the toxic karmic devil, you know, like chains bound on those lovers. So it's very much the same energy, the same people, the same situation. It's just that one of them's karmic and one of them's divine, and trying to decide which one is that for me can sometimes get us, you know, lost and going down the wrong path, or making decisions that we shouldn't be making, or coming to a standstill where we don't know what to do, or we start, you know, entertaining two things, and then that's where heartache comes in, and pain, or missing somebody from our past, because maybe we made that choice to go towards a karmic person, and then something's missing, and so we start, you know, feeling nostalgic, and we start feeling left out in the cold, and something kind of just isn't right. So we don't have that 10 of Pentacles. We don't have our ultimate fulfillment because we're not, you know, where we're supposed to be. And, you know, we want to work together with somebody to build something. So whenever we see the threes, we're going to kind of think about, okay, like the 3 people or 3 elements is tied into this. And like with the 3 of Wands, and the Wands is tied to energy, it's tied to our career, it's tied to our passion, our sexual desires, and our drive, and ambitions, and things like that. So with the 3 of Wands, it's like somebody's standing on the cliff looking out onto the horizon, and you can read that 2 ways. So there's the person there being there on that cliff, but then there's the element of, are they waiting for their ships to come in, or are they, you know, are they setting sail? Are they getting ready to take off? It depends on the perspective, and it depends on the energy that's kind of like been around it, like what else is influencing it. So with the 3 of Pentacles and the 2 of Pentacles, if I had both of these cards coming out, this is again 2 people working together to build something, and usually they're directing another person. And with the 2 of Pentacles, this is somebody juggling too many freaking things, too many stuff going on. So because they're both tied to the physical material world, I would say that maybe somebody's got something like a job that they're doing, or maybe they have a job and a side hustle, or they have people in their life that's impacting them in a physical way somehow, and that's just becoming way too much for them. Like it's just too much. So then you might maybe see the 10 of Wands, where that's like, this is too heavy, I can't carry this burden anymore, I gotta drop it. And again with the 3 of Wands, like you could be somebody that's waiting for this, you know, situation to play out. Are they gonna drop their burden and decide to drop one element and come towards you? Or are they gonna decide to drop, you know, all things and just go in a whole new direction? Or are they gonna you know, try to keep bringing this along with them on their path, and you know, not make a clear decision, so then those burdens just stay around, and it's like it just gets heavier and heavier. You may have to be the one that decides to set sail away from it. If you've been sitting there waiting for your ships to come in and they're not showing up, at some point you would have to set sail and be like, okay, enough's enough, I'm gonna go, you know, find passion somewhere else. I'm gonna go spark a new beginning, which the aces are the 1. All of the aces represent a new start. So the Ace of Pentacles is a new beginning of value and worth in our lives. You know, this is us getting committed to our spiritual growth, getting committed to our finances, getting committed to our value and worth within. And then the Ace of Wands is that passionate desire and that sexual drive, and that thing inside of us that makes us feel like, oh, this is my career, this is what I want to do, this is where I should be, and who I should be connecting with, and all of those lovely things. The Ace of Cups is again our emotions, so it could be a new beginning in love, or an emotional fulfillment that we are, you know, feeling. Like when you think about when you first meet somebody, you might have like those butterflies and those nerves, and things may be exciting in the beginning, but if you don't have the passion and you don't have the stability, you can't ground that emotional like excitement, then you don't have anything, and it will be a fleeting thing that will go away. And you know, you probably end up missing something or feeling like something's not there. It's like it's not a fullness. And the Ace of Swords is our mind. So this is like usually when somebody's had clarity, or somebody has a new idea, or somebody wants to say something that they've never said before, or they just want to have a new communication between them and another person. So there could be like a King of Pentacles out there that has a Queen of Pentacles who they know is their person that they're going to match up with, and have that balanced energy between the 2 of them. And they may be, you know, wanting to have justice between them. And there could have been karma that's been blocking them. There could have been things and burdens that caused issues. They may have had tower moments where basically the tower comes, everybody looks at this as a big scary thing. This is when we've built a foundation on shitty, shaky stuff. When we decided based out of our fears, or we decided based out of that Ace of Cups energy that had no grounded stability with it, or we, you know, we're motivated to do something based out of our own self-serving or manipulating or lying or whatever, and so justice will be served and usually tear down whatever we've been building that's not good for us or not good for whatever's happening around us. Like if we lied or we manipulated or we stole or we cheated somebody or just didn't do things on the up and up, usually justice comes in to slam things down and make you start over. And then you decide, okay, I'm going to make a better decision this time, and I'm going to say I'm sorry, which the pages are messengers. So all of the pages are a younger energy. They're messengers. When I see the Page of Swords, I think of the Page of Swords as somebody that's like looking on from afar. He may want to say something, he may say something, but it's usually like through social media. The Page of Cups is usually an emotional page, like I'm sorry, or I really do like you, and I feel a bond with you. I feel like I want to, connect with you, and I'm going to be vulnerable with you. And then the Page of Wands is creative energy. So you think of, again, the wands is that passion, that drive, that fire. That's that energy of our careers and our desires sexually and all of that. So the Page of Wands would be somebody that's like creative and inspired. I've got an idea. I want to do this thing that I think is going to be awesome. And the Page of Swords, like I said, is somebody that may be communicating through telephone or through social media, or they may just be looking on. Like again, this is a lot of times I see this as somebody that is looking at your story or interacting with your stuff online, but not really maybe saying something out loud. And then the Knights are the ones that take action. So the Knight of Wands, he's usually the one that he takes action, and then he doesn't always follow through. Like he can get inspired, or he can feel really desire and want to come rushing in and get all wow wowie, but then that's a fleeting thing. He may not stick around, or he may just run off to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. The Knight of Pentacles, however, he's very, very slow. It takes him forever to get there, but when he gets there, he's stable, he's committed, he's loyal, he's going to be there for the long haul. He's going to turn into the King of Pentacles, which is, the one that's very loyal and going to basically become like that Hierophant energy. Somebody that is worth waiting for or worth dealing with in the grand scheme of things. And then the Knight of Swords is somebody that usually rushes in with something to say. They may not think it all the way through. They may be kind of rough around the delivery of what they say. Like they could say something that's truth, and it may just be very logical. They may not be very tactful within it. They just kind of blurt it out, and whatever it is, it's like, I just don't like you. And they just say that, and they go off on their own way. It's whatever they have to say that's the truth. It may not be that I don't like you. It's just whatever the truth is usually what they're going to say. And then the Knight of Cups, again, he's romantic, he's emotional, he's going to be the schmoozer. He may know how to say all the right things and make you feel all ooh, but he may not follow through fully. Okay, so again, out of all the Knights, the ones that do take action, the best one to have show up is the Knight of Pentacles. Even though he takes forever to get there, when he gets there, he's solid, he's whole, he's gonna be good. This one's all in the mind, this one's all in the bed, and this one's all about kind of just being seen in a certain way, like suave, and ooh, yeah, he's so sexy. So those are the Knights. And then the Queens, again, so the Queens are like the feminine, and usually people see the Queens as aspects of themselves, or they tie it with their element. So if I'm a air sign, I may resonate with her more than I do some of the other queens, but she's usually been hurt. Okay, so somebody's usually broke her heart. Somebody may have done some stuff that made her now put her boundary up, and so she's very much more logical about things. She's not going to wear her heart on her sleeve. She's not going to let anybody come in and out anymore because she doesn't want to get hurt anymore. So she usually has her guard up and is very much very careful in her approach to love and all of that. And then the Queen of Cups is very loving and very nurturing, and she's very intuitive because she's in tune with her emotions, and she's in tune with your emotions, and she usually can feel the things that are not said or expressed. So she's kind of like a younger version, or a similar to the High Priestess, which is a major arcana. So the High Priestess is very intuitive, very secretive, very mysterious. She's tied to the moon. But if you have the moon and the High Priestess come out, this could indicate infidelity, that somebody's lying or hiding something, or there's some sort of secret. Usually she knows exactly what's going on. She can see beyond these illusions and the bullshit that people do. And then again, the Page of Pentacles was the one I didn't mention. So the Page of Pentacles is, again, one of those messengers, but he's usually like physical, like, let's go on a date, here's a ring, let's get married. Like, he's going to offer something physical or valuable in the material world, usually, that you know, is part of his message, or part of what he's showing up to deliver. And then, just like I was saying, the Queen of Cups, very loving, very nurturing. Her King of Cups is her counterpart, or the one that she's like aligned to, but he usually does suppress, or maybe not always express his emotions fully, but he is emotionally mature. He does feel these things, he does love you, he does care about you, but he's not a basket case about it. He's not going to be like bawling his eyes out with how he feels. If he's in the reverse, however, he could be somebody that's drinking to suppress his feelings, or not owning up to his feelings, or trying to manipulate somebody and make them think something that's not true, or use your emotions against you. And then the Queen of Wands, she's going to be, again, that she's like that entrepreneur. She's got her shit together in the material world. She's like getting it done with her career, and she's charismatic, and she's very business oriented. She knows where everything is. She's very sexy and passionate and driven, and she gets a lot of attention, a lot of that desire energy around her. Men are very drawn to her. And then the King of Wands, again, he's very much in that energy too, where he's very sexy and very passionate and very like suave. He takes anything he's been through that's been difficult, turns it into motivation to go after his pursuits, and he turns the bad shit into motivation to get shit done and to make things happen. So these two are very like power couple type of energy. And then, like I said, the Queen of Swords is somebody that may have been hurt, so she's got her guard up and she's protecting herself. King of Swords is very logical. He's not going to be like thinking about, oh, but this is how I feel. And that usually gets them into trouble, because they approach everything with the mind rather than their heart. And when we do that, a lot of times we make decisions that don't really make sense in the end, because it's like, wait a minute, I did this because of logic, but now I'm here and I'm not fulfilled, I'm not happy. I want to be fucking happy. That's the big part of life, is to be happy. So they usually need to figure out how to navigate that more so, let themselves feel, or let themselves make decisions that aren't totally logical based. King of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles, they're very much grounded, stable, loyal, committed, nurturers. They're just like the ones that are like the mom and the dad. You know, they're going to be there forever. They're if they commit to each other, they're committed. They're in there. They're not going to end badly. They're just going to work through it. And they're very much aligned and closely, for me, seen like the Empress and Emperor, because this is like what it takes. Like, this is like where they're getting to. You know, it's like we use all of those other energies to build ourselves to that place of being financially sound, of being spiritually connected, of being in a good solid foundation with another person. You know, we may have waited a while to get there, but it's like these two have the patience and the stamina to get there, and they're the ones that usually evolve into that Empress, who again is very nurturing and loving. She's the embodiment of all the queens. The Emperor is the embodiment of all the kings. So it does take a while for them to figure out all those elements of life, so they can have their Ten of Pentacles, their ultimate fulfillment. The Ten of Cups is like a happy thing, like ooh, I'm happy and fulfilled emotionally, but I may be missing some money, or I may be missing some you know, awareness when it comes to my spiritual level of stuff. So the Ten of Cups is a great place to be, but it's usually only like, it's only so far, or it's only going to get you to a little bit of the way. If you want to become the Emperor and the Empress, you've got to get you know, that pentacle stuff together. You got to get your value right. You got to have a spiritual practice. You've got to do the inner work just as well as the outer work, and all of that stuff tying together. So basically, there's a lot of stuff here. And like I said, you know, I feel like for the majority of people who tie in and connect with these, the Emperor and the Empress is like the end game for people. It's like, this is who we're trying to become through our spiritual commitment, through our devotion to ourselves, through finding the right partners in life, through going and aligning with the passionate careers, getting our money right, getting our value right, learning lessons, overcoming anxiety, not self-sabotaging, not hurting other people, not using other people or abusing other people, walking away from people that we need to walk away from in order for us to have better things, and becoming the star in our own lives, not putting other people up on a pedestal, making the difficult judgment calls that we need to make sometimes to be like, okay, this person's not serving me, or this thing's not getting me anywhere. Maybe I have love here, but you know, this person isn't loving me back in the way that I deserve, so I've got to choose to love myself more and evolve and grow. And destiny usually comes in along the way and spins things into our favor, or helps us when we've been being a good person. It's that justice, it's that destiny, it's that what you put out into the world is what you get back. So if you act like a shithead, don't be surprised when shit's falling apart. But if you act like a good person and you do the right things and you come from your heart and you know, show up in a balanced way, and you don't, you know, juggle other people's value and worth, or speak, you know, the truth and act from the truth, like when you are in that energy, that's when good stuff happens in your life. So if you haven't been in that energy, that's when you become the magician to transmute that and then align. And that's when you find your perfect partner and you can end the story in a good way. So the Fool is the first card. He takes a leap of faith, and the World is the last card, which ends the major journey. So it's like we start off as that fool, and we take that leap of faith, go through all those ups and downs and all that destiny and all that, and then we get to the end, and it's usually like, okay, that chapter has ended. Now I'm going to get to that place where I'm going to take the next leap of faith into the next part of my journey. And there will always be ups and downs and things that we learn. Sometimes we're going to have people to work with together. Sometimes we're going to be doing it solo. Sometimes we're going to have some illusions and karmic people in our lives that we got to clear out so that we get to that ultimate fulfillment and, you know, face our fears and those difficulties of our world. So, that's like the basic of what tarot is. Some of the basic ways for you to understand all of this is, you know, journaling with them, like every day, shuffling up and saying, like, I'm going to do a 3-card pull where it's like, I'm going to get the past, present, and future, or I'm going to get the energy of my mind, my feelings, and my wants or my desires. So if I'm thinking, you know, in those ways, I may do past, present, future. And so with the past, present, future, I have the Hierophant for the past. So I could be looking at this as like, okay, in my recent past, I may have decided to become spiritually aligned or awoke and got committed to my spiritual path. And because of that, it's bringing me to this place of the 10 of Cups, where I'm emotionally fulfilled, like I'm having a happy ending from that place where I was, but it looks like, you know, my future, I'm missing somebody, or I'm feeling nostalgic about maybe a connection that I had, or somebody that I feel that strong soul connection to. So this could be kind of telling me like I'm not going to be fulfilled here because I'm missing that partner or that person in my head, or that thing that I haven't been able to align with fully yet. So there could be somebody I'm meant to work with, a third person, or there could be a third person that's blocking me from having this person that I work together with to build that fulfillment in my life. And that's maybe why it hasn't been balanced between us. You know, maybe I've given more than I've received, or they've given more than they received, depending on the dynamics of your situation. You have to be honest with yourself too. You can't just like take the card that you want to take and ignore the rest. And then, like, again, for the mind, we have the Two of Swords. So this could be you trying to figure that out. Like, who do I care about, or who do I want? Should I be sitting here where I am? Am I going to just sit here and wait forever? Or am I going to go somewhere and get into my ship and sail off into the distance so that I can have my partnership in the future that is stable and aligned and good and you know, my destiny, the person that is going to make me feel happy and fulfilled. So, and there's all different ways to read them, but when you do that, you know, you could do a journal. I have my 30-day journal that I have for tarot, where it's like every day you get a prompt, and you may pull one card or you may pull 3 cards, and then there's questions that go with it. So it's like, what's the name of the card? What are the keywords associated with that card? And like, what is it telling you for that day? So like the Queen of Wands, like she's very much about fire and passion, our stamina. She's sexual. She's usually tied to our career. So if she shows up, I might think this could be to do with love, or this could be to do with my career. But then if I get the Ace of Cups and the Two of Cups, then I'm going to say this is probably to do with love and somebody that I feel very passionately connected to. May want a new beginning with somebody that I have that soul tie to. But there may be something that's blocking it, or there may be a reason that they need to apologize, or I need to apologize. Maybe they're looking from afar, or you're looking on to them from afar, but nothing's really being said or transpiring between the two of you, and that could be because of fear of rejection, or fear of making the wrong choice, or fear that I'm just going to give again and they're not going to give back, or you know, whatever. Maybe I fear that they're too good for me, so I'm just going to stay over here because I don't deserve that. But what would need to happen is, if you're feeling those ways, you would need to own your power, become the empress, the embodiment of realizing like you are good enough. You do deserve to have the love that you want and that you feel, you know, that soul tie to. Whatever you give, you deserve to receive back. And when you make a clear decision in love, or you make a clear decision in your life, you make it clear, you put it out there, that's what you create. But if you're going back and forth in your mind with fears and doubts and just looking and wondering and I don't know, then that's what you're going to see, and that's what you're going to create, and that's where you're going to stay. So if you have a partner, or you're wanting this type of partnership in your life, you know, get vulnerable and authentic and just own it to yourself, and speak it and create it and allow it to become manifest by trusting and knowing that if that's what's meant to be, that will be. It may take a little while for it to come, but when you own your truth and you ripple that out around you, your truth will come to meet you there, and somebody will come work together with you to build that. So again, with the Oracle, the Oracle is a little bit less intense. There's not all these suits, there's not all these signs, there's not all this stuff going on with it, but it depends on the deck. Like if you get an Oracle that's all astrology, which I do have one that I made that can probably help people to figure out astrology. That was the whole reason why I did it. There's a lot of cards in there that are just message cards, but there's also cards in here that are like Libra, with the key words that are associated with Libra. So then you know, all right, Libra's about balance and justice. And then I have the houses. So the 4th house is tied to Cancer and the moon, and it's tied to our home and our foundation and self-care. So then I have Jupiter, which is tied to Sagittarius, and it's about expansion and luck and wisdom and healing and all of that. So I have all the planets, all the signs, and all the houses, and I have them marked in a way that's like, okay, that makes sense. So Capricorn's about discipline, ambition, and persistence. And the 11th house is tied to Aquarius and Uranus, which is about invention and being a rebel and working together with a network to kind of like, you know, figure things out. The 8th house is tied to Scorpio and the planet Pluto, and that's about deep bonds and death and rebirth and sex. And the 10th house is about achieving, and it's tied to Capricorn. So Capricorn being the 10th house is about our fame. It's about our legacy, our traditions. This is like 10 of Pentacles energy, okay? So Capricorn is an earth sign. It's going to tie into that type of thing of like being determined, being disciplined, having that ambition, to go after your traditional way of showing up in the world and creating something that's valuable and worth having. And then there's a planet here tied to that as well. And so you can learn, you know, by working with these energies of like, oh, like that planet is tied to that. That makes sense because, you know, it just is aligned in that way. Like you start to see the little things that make sense. So like Venus in Libra and Venus are connected, okay? And so that's the 7th house. That's the house of partnerships. Venus is that place of love and like romance and sensuality and beauty and all of that. But Venus is also tied to Taurus. So Taurus is, so Venus is connected to Taurus and Libra. Taurus is that grounded, like lovey-dovey, committed, stable, like loves the finer things of life, is going to be all about beauty and seduction and just like feeling good and tasting good and smelling good and all of that. And then Libra is too, but Libra is tied to the 7th house, which is the partnerships and our relationships and all of those things. So it makes sense that that's the way. And then Libra is about balance, and it's like the 2 scales being brought into balance. So we want to have a balanced relationship. It makes sense to have that be the house that rules that energy. And then for Taurus, which is tied to Venus, the house that's tied to Taurus is about I have. So it's like I have this and I have that and I have all this value and I have these resources and I have the finer things of life because I'm tied to those beautiful things and that luxury and that good, like yummy stuff. So it's like they serve in 2 different ways with that one specifically, but for the most part a lot of them are only tied to one. Like Pluto is tied to Scorpio. Pluto is a transformer. It comes in and it's like it changes everything. But Pluto and Scorpio are like the underworld. It's like that stuff that's not maybe necessarily seen on the surface. It's like you know, changing and transforming, and it's sexual and it's all of that. And then the 3rd house is tied to Gemini, and Gemini is about communication. It's like short travels around town, our community, our media, like commerce, stuff like that. But they're tied to I think and communicate energy. So it makes sense, you know. And again, like I said, this is just a tool that helps people to kind of, oh, that makes sense. Oh, I figured it out. Like Taurus is about being reliable and grounded and determined. And Saturn is tied to Capricorn, which was that committed, stable 10th house achievement energy, being disciplined and ambitious and all of that. And so this is about karma, order, structure, hard work, discipline, time, creation, organizing, boundaries. So you figure out like, oh, makes sense. Like you got to have boundaries, you got to be disciplined, you got to have that type of energy to be able to show up consistently every day to build your legacy, to build a good solid foundation for you to create, you know, your life on. That's like that 10 of Pentacles fulfillment. My money's right, my value's right, I'm good, I'm solid, like I'm committed to becoming this person. And that's because I'm ruled by Saturn of structure, and because that 10th house is there, that's about fame and recognition and just, you know, this is important to me because those are the things that align to the energy that when I was born was like pouring in on me. So that makes sense for that. And then like I said, Gemini is dualistic perception. You know, they're bouncing back and forth between 2 things, and that's why they communicate and they travel around town and do all these like little like things where it's like, oh yeah, it's like changing my mind and I'm speaking to everybody and I'm kind of like a busybody. You know, it's that energy of just kind of being in 2 places at once, or being two versions of something. And Mercury is about communicating, traveling, relationships, technology, day-to-day expressions, intelligence, elegance, messages, logic, rationale, and memory. So it can also be tied to commerce. So if you think of like commerce, it's like selling stuff. they're obviously going to be good at selling stuff because they have two perspectives, or they can see both sides of the story. They know what to say to you. They're good salesmen, you know, like the car salesman. They can kind of like be that way if they need to be that way, but it's not always the best thing to be, but it is available to them to be that. And then the 5th house is Leo, and that's about creativity, and you think of Leo being like all up in your face and like, oh, hoo, hoo. So Leo's tied to the sun, which is very brilliant, bright energy, and they're all about, you know, getting recognized, being seen, and creative, and just like, woohoo, out there. And then, you know, all of these things kind of tie together. So Mars is tied to Aries, which is tied to the 1st house, which is tied to Mars. Mars, Aries, 1st house makes sense, because then 2nd house is, you know, Venus with Taurus. So the 1st zodiac is Aries, the 2nd zodiac is Taurus, the 3rd is Gemini, and so Gemini is in the 3rd house. So they even align in that way too, when you start to realize like, oh, it's like, it's all numbered, it's all a code, it's all put together in a way that makes sense. It may take us a while to figure it all out, to get it all, but once we do, we're like, oh, okay, I get it. And Aries is about like our first impressions and how we show up, and our identity. So again, the 1st house, Aries and Mars all align. 2nd house is that I have my resources, I'm good, I'm that Taurus energy, you know, connected in that way. And then the 3rd house is Gemini, and again, that makes sense with the 3rd astrology sign in the big scheme of things, and they are about the communications, and they're tied to Mercury, and then it just goes on and on and on from there. So this is why I made that, was to teach myself these things, and I have learned a lot since making this deck. And then just looking into my own chart, you can go look up your chart for free online. There's a lot of websites that will let you, you know, put your time of birth and the day that you were born, and it will tell you what sign you have and what influences you where. So like maybe you have, you know, Venus influencing you in a different house, which will make you be, you know, more luxurious about your self-care rather than maybe your relationships or how you're showing up in the world. It's gonna influence each other depending on your specific chart. Okay, so that's when it gets a little bit layered, but it does also tie into the tarot. And I actually have a book, I think it's right here, that's like, yeah, tarot and astrology. So it teaches you all about what the things are and how to figure out, oh, okay, this makes sense. Like the houses in the horoscopes, and you know, who's tied to what. So like the 3 of Swords is Saturn in Libra, and the 7 of Pentacles is Saturn in Taurus. And then they have charts in this book that's like tied to all of this. It helps you to figure out who's what, and again, that timing thing, like when something is. So there's fixed signs, mutable signs, like things that are more solid, things that are not solid. There's a lot, but don't overdo that. You know, just get the basics of what makes sense to you, or learn your own stuff and then go from there. That's what I did. I learned about my own chart, my own energies and influences, and then I just slowly kind of picked up on other stuff. You know, like I looked into like the people that I love or the people that are in my family, and it made sense because like, oh, like my sister's Capricorn, I have Capricorn rising and Capricorn moon. So the moon influences how we are in our love. So if you have, you know, Taurus, I'm Taurus sun with Capricorn moon, I'm gonna love people a little bit differently than Taurus because of that Capricorn influence. But the main one is our sun, and then the next 2 that are more important than the others are our rising and our moon. And then Venus is again tied to our love, the way that we love or the way that we are in relationships. And it just basically all gets influenced. So learning who you are is a great way to start, and then just going off from there. And again, they all tie to the times, like the days, the dates. There's so much to it that I feel like there's no wrong way for you to interpret or go. You could go with the colors, or you could go with the numbers, or you could go with the signs, or you could go with just the elements of like earth, air, fire, water. And again, with Oracle, it's a little bit less intense because you don't have to have all these things. They say right on them what that card represents. So this is like the water element. This is about sensing. This is the air element. This is about communicating. So this would help you to understand astrology and to understand tarot, because all of the swords are about air and communicating, and all of the cups are about that water, that emotional sensing with our emotions. So getting decks like these can definitely help you. And then like Libra is about our relationships and being balanced in our relationships. Pluto is about transformation. It's that one that comes in and transforms everything. And the 7th house is that partnership, which is tied to Libra. So I know I'm giving you guys a lot of information, but I want you to know that like there is a lot of information out there, and there's no wrong way to interpret how you see something. Like I could see the moon as being more so emotional, and you might see it as more of the moon being like the soul level. It doesn't matter. However it makes sense to you, and how you look at cards is what your spirit guides are going to deliver to you. So if you see a card that says air element communication, you may see this as somebody wants to communicate, and I might see it as somebody's hiding communication. It just depends on what you pick up. But Spirit's going to show you what they know to show you for what you're going to think and say and feel based off of what you need to say because of those messages that you're picking up on. So you won't ever be wrong if you just trust your intuition and know, like, okay, they're showing me that for a reason. So like this is ancient activation. Allow the ancestors to access and assist you. Like this is exactly what I mean. Like allow your ancestors to assist you by taking the first thing that pops into your mind when you see a card or when you see a message. You know, just trust what you know. Look, Aquarius is I know. So I know, like if you saw this card for the person you're reading for, and this Mercury retrograde reinvention, you could be like, you may be knowing that it's time for you to have a reinvention. It's time for you to change things within your world. The world that you've been creating may be just not satisfying for you anymore. So you could be at this place where you're ready to sacrifice and get rid of either the partnership that you're in or whatever feels like it's missing. Something may be missing in your life. You may have a routine that you've been stuck within, and it's time to break up that monotony. It's time for you to have that ending and a new beginning where you're going to get aligned to the blessings, because then you're going to be in an energy of healing. You're going to be feeling better. You're going to feel like you're aligned to your self-purpose. And the fortune is going to increase because of that revolution that you're going through. You're no longer waiting. You're no longer feeling stuck. You're going to have those genius aha moments that help you to realize who you are and to align with the benefits that you gain over age and over allowing the changes to occur to your foundation and your roots. You know, maybe you've been stable, maybe you've been stuck in a rut, or you've just been, you know, doing the same old thing, but it's time for transformation. It's time for you to love. It's time for you to believe in love and in your destiny, and, you know, allowing that to unfold. There could be something that's provoking this, like maybe as you're aging, you're getting to this place where you're like, I don't want to stay stuck anymore. I'm sick of not knowing who I am, or I'm sick of this mystery surrounding my life. I'm ready to have the right partnerships. I'm ready to have the abundance. I'm ready to honor my soul and my body, and to do, you know, whatever thing I feel like needs to be done. Maybe I need to communicate to somebody, or maybe I just need to listen to myself and use my inner will to take action on what I've been seeing intuitively, and to sacrifice that routine that's been kind of keeping me stuck, so I can go towards my desires and I can have that transformation and balance out my feelings and my emotions, and in the world of, you know, being maybe all analytical and analyzing things and not having any good stuff going down, and then embracing my spirit, allowing this reinvention of myself so that I know that I'm not missing anything anymore. I'm going to escape this reality that's not serving me so I can fulfill my purpose and become the person that I'm meant to be. And I'm going to share the message that has been inside of me to be shared, and I'm going to get into that place where I feel good, and I'm going to have that revolution in my world, and everything is just going to come together for me so that I can achieve my ultimate fulfillment. I can aspire and inspire other people. As long as I'm disciplined and I show up for myself, I know that I can manifest whatever I want. I have that Lyran energy, which is like the manifester. I'm going to use that Leo energy about my confidence, showing up and clearly communicating, clearly seeing what I want. I'm fertile, I'm abundant. I'm trusting my intuition, I'm trusting my emotions. I'm going to heal these deep wounds that may be, you know, coming up with Chiron, which is a wounded healer energy, and all the things that I've held on to that are just no longer serving me anymore. I'm going to let them go, because how I live is how I'm going to be. I can either be divinely aligned or in a chaotic state of mind based off of how I perceive things and what I put out there. So it's time for me to find the right person or the right, you know, partnership in my world. It's time for me to go deeper into this death and rebirth energy, and it's time to feel independent and inspired and to take the action that's going to be rebellious. Maybe people aren't going to expect this out of me, maybe I don't expect this out of me, but I know I have a partnership out there that's going to make me feel good, that I want to communicate with, that I want to have that inspired, deeper bond between me and them. And I want that radiant light. Every moment has a purpose of its own. I'm going to see the light shine on the things that I've outgrown, and a phase of darkness is going to help me to see clearly so that I can, you know, get out of that place and into the light and have my perspective shift from this place that I've been. So I'm going from my place of being in the balance between the creator and the receptor, allowing myself to receive and give in balance and in harmony. When I have the right people around me and the right relationships around me, that just naturally occurs. So divine inspiration comes in an instant, and it's created to last beyond the infinite. So when I make these decisions that are inspired from the divine and I take action on it, I can trust that it's going to last. It's going to have that lasting imprint that's going to, you know, shake up the monotony and take me to that place where I've been trying to get to, so that I can have my fame and my status and my long-standing, you know, reality that I've been trying to create. Maybe I just wasn't creating it in the right way, or I was being loyal to the wrong people, or there was like a mysterious element around it, or something just wasn't in the right alignment for me at that time. But now I'm transforming to have that stability within the roots. I'm going to be embracing my genius and using what I know and using what's at my disposal to have my desires and my creativity brought into fruition, so that my soul can shine, my partnership can be one that has a beautiful return with it, and everything that I have been thinking about and everything that I've been trying to do is going to be increased. The benefits are going to grow. The fortune is going to be increased. Everything's basically just going to be coming together for me. So hopefully that, you know, gives you an idea of what I mean. When you see the words, you just kind of like go with it. Take what makes sense to you, what's coming to your mind. Don't think too much, just speak. Whatever's coming through is just like what I say. Like the intuitive energy is what I speak about. I don't sit there and get all weird about it, because that's when we block ourselves. So you could look at this card and see the green and tie that to the heart chakra. So you may be like, okay, somebody's feeling like their heart is aging, you know, or maturing when it comes to their relationship. So the yellow here could be confidence, our solar plexus. So as they age and they're getting more confident about the love that they have and trusting their soul to guide their heart in connection to their intuition. Our intuition is tied to that purple energy, you know, our third eye energy. So it could be that, or it could be the numbers. When I see 8, I think of the infinite, and then here's 35 adds up to 8. So it's like Chiron healing, 11th house friends. So you could be infinitely healing and aligning with abundance as you tap into the right friendships and the right partnerships to heal your wounds that are on a soul level. And 3 is like creative energy, and it's again, it could be influenced in a few different ways. It's however we want to see it. And then I have 7 and 7 here, which is the Pleiadians. Could be applauding us and giving us abundance as we feel our way through what we need to do. And 31 adds up to 4, which is our foundation. So somebody knowing like who their partner is going to be, building that solid foundation with that person, trusting the heart to do what they need to do, to be applauded by spirit. 7 is again a card of being like a number of being applauded by spirit, things like that. So I know this is probably a lot of information for people, but take it and apply it, and just practice. You know, you can't mess up with oracle cards. They're basically like, oh, one word right there, Chiron healing. Somebody needs to heal, okay? And blue could be the throat chakra, so somebody needs to heal and speak their truth in order for them to do that. Or if we get the water, it's emotional, so maybe they need to speak what their emotions are feeling in regards to their healing. And it's all intuitive, so take those little inklings, turn them into words, build yourself a foundation to build off of for yourself. Like, again, it could be knowing the energy of the astrology, or it could be knowing the chakras, it could be knowing the numbers, it could just be knowing the earth, air, fire, water. Build up your, like I made a little chart for myself in the beginning when I was learning tarot. So I had the major arcana and the minor arcana, and I did have that little chart that I printed out or created for everybody on my website. It's still there. And basically, you know, practice every day and separate your deck when you get it. Like, okay, this is a major arcana, this is a major arcana, this is a minor arcana. Put all the 6s together, put all the 5s together, put all the major together in the number that they go, 1 through 20, and then learn them. And again, remember, like the cups is emotional, and the pentacles is more physical, and the wands is more so about our passion and our drive and our stamina, and the swords is our mind and our thoughts and our thinking and our speaking. And then the major arcana can tie to major energy, the minor is minor energy, the court cards are the kings and the queens, and the pages are a little bit immature, and the kings are the most mature. Women are usually aligned to the queens, and the men are usually aligned to the kings. And just look at the imagery too. Like, what does the image tell you? You know, like obviously this one is saying like there's a big fucking problem out there. Something's falling down. Something's not so good. But we can look at that as the end of the world, and we can look at that as an opportunity to build something better in its place. So don't juggle around for too long. Don't self-sabotage or let other people manipulate you. Find the strength to do what you got to do to take that leap of faith into the next chapter and feel magnetically charged, so that you can meet the person that's going to be magnetically charged and aligned with you, and show up to be your partner and work together with you to do the hard work in the material world, so you can increase your value, overcome the karmic toxic stuff, have healthy boundaries in place, be single and sexy, confident, independent, so that you have your balance manifested and your wishes coming true and rising up into that star energy in your life, clearly knowing things and saying things and speaking things, and, you know, illuminating the world around you, so that you can be the embodiment of the empress and the emperor, and that you can celebrate together, or reconcile with somebody, or you know, come together to have your 4 of Wands, to work with somebody that's going to be the person that helps you to heal from whatever you've been through in the past that maybe wasn't so good, or the anxieties that you have surrounding you know, being rejected or left in the past, or somebody walking away from you or not giving to you equally, secrets and lies and manipulation, you know, whatever you've been through, try to find somebody that understands that within you and isn't going to use it against you or see it as a detriment about you, is willing to take the time and be patient with you, and get creative in how they're going to build beside you, so that you can overcome this shit together and have an equal give and take, rather than, you know, being all greedy or manipulative or self-serving, so that you can both become emperor and empress, or whatever it is that you're going to be within your dynamics, and not be somebody that's like headed towards another. Boom. So hopefully this makes sense. I feel like basically the best thing to do is just practice. There is a download on my website that's like the 30-day tarot download. Again, you could just do like every day I'm going to do my past, present, future, or my mind, feeling, and wanting, or, you know, asking about somebody else, and like learn the key words that are associated with cards. Maybe get a set of cards that you don't mind writing on the back of them, like what each one means to you, so that you can start to know each one. And once you feel confident with one deck, you can get another deck and kind of mix that in. And every deck has its own like little spin-off on the energies usually, I've noticed. So you might read the book that's associated with your deck, and it may be a little bit different than the traditional tarot, but, you know, I do say try to learn the basic of the traditional and then go learn the influences of others. And with the oracle cards, it's very, very self-explanatory. Every deck, almost every deck I've seen, has the words right on the card that's like, this is what this means. Like the shaman deck here is like, birds equals freedom. Like, so if you got this, you'd be like, somebody's going to be having freedom. They're going to be purging. So we got the owl with the birds, and the birds, you know, it's like somebody's definitely spreading their wings and flying. They're purging the past. They're leaving away whatever has been not serving them. They could be having a soul retrieval in their life. They could be knowing at this time, like something deep within them needs to change in their foundation. There's some sort of truth that's being revealed to them. And as they embrace that, they're going to be getting more creative in the way that they communicate, and they're going to find their purpose and their sacred site here. They could be creating a sacred, you know, space for themselves for the continuation of their life as they align to their truth in their foundation. They purge the past, or they purge the trickster energy, and they nurture themselves to reclaim themselves and to understand themselves in a deeper way. All right, so I'm going to leave you with that, and hopefully that kind of helps people to understand a little bit. And I will be back with the next one, which will be an activation on how to interpreting the energy. So taking energy and just interpreting it from energy to words is what I do a lot. And then there's the no wrong answer meditation, so I will be doing those next, which is not going to be me talking. It's more so me just like doing an activation and a meditation. So I'll be doing that, and then after that is the releasing the fear activation, and I am a conduit meditation. And yeah, that's it. So if you guys have questions, if you're not sure about anything, put down something in the comment. Let me know what you're not getting, or if there's something specific that would help you to understand a little bit better. And I feel like, yeah, like, let me know, because I could maybe do a live or something where I kind of connect with you guys and you can ask me questions back and forth, because this is basically it for like me telling you about this, and you go on your way and just practice, just start doing it. The rest of it's all activations and meditations, and then there's the bonus level activations and meditations, and then we go on to level 7, which is the last level of Alcyone Light. So let me know if you need me to come back and do more of this basic stuff, okay? In Renee, namaste.